Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wake Up Report. And the word is conviction. And our usage of the word conviction for today's show is number one, a firmly held belief or opinion, or number two, the quality of showing that one is firmly convinced of what one believes or says. And what does that have to do with the Super Bowl? You'll find out later on in the show. And with that being said, if you are in the vicinity of this man, you may want to lock your wife up until he leaves town, because he just may celebrate his Super Bowl victory by putting his Fletcher Cox, it is the bad joke that I will not let go away, into your wife. But this time Fletcher Cox is wised up to the game. As you can see, he has his disguise now. So if you see a man crawling out of your bedroom window wearing that mask, it may or may not be Fletcher Cox. He won't cop to it, but just giving you a forewarning. All right, anyway, the Philadelphia Eagles scored their first ever Super Bowl victory, defeating the New England Patriots. And I did not watch the Super Bowl. I was not interested. All of the kneeling and protesting and all that drama and garbage that's been going on since 2015 has pretty much turned me off to the NFL. I don't know if I'm going to, go back to football or not. I think I'll stick around and wait and see what Vince is going to do with the XFL. But I was not interested in the game. My big fat Super Bowl platter of food that I normally get for the game, I went out and bought Blade Runner 2049, and I watched Blade Runner on Sunday night. So from what I hear, the game itself was pretty good, but a lot of things that were going on off field sucked for this year's Super Bowl. One of them being Pink's performance, in which somebody trolled Pink and said that her rendition of the national anthem sucked. And then Pink trolled the person who trolled her and said, well, if I suck, you suck. The only difference is you suck at home on your couch and I suck at the Super Bowl. And then Vince McMahon trolled the NFL and said the NFL sucks because the game is too slow, it's too boring, you don't know if somebody caught a ball or not, so wait until you see what we do with the XFL, it's not going to suck. And then fans trolled Justin Timberlake, apparently the new king of cultural appropriation, and they said his halftime show sucked. And then the NFL got blacked out. Nobody knows what happened, although I think I have my suspicions as to who was responsible for that blackout. So that sucked. And then Kevin Hart made an ass of himself.
Philadelphia is a great city. I hope this is an example of what we can do. We gave.
Hey, Kevin, I love you. All right, he got to go. He got to go. Listen.
He gets escorted off of the Super Bowl stage, and then he gets blocked from trying to get back on the stage. So his celebrity status didn't help him not one bit. So that sucked. And look at Kevin Hart looking at this lady. She's looking back at him like, dude, if you're not here to get my keys and go get my car, I'm not interested. So that sucked. And then the media trolled Kevin Hart and said his Super Bowl appearance was embarrassing and that he sucked. And Kevin Hart is from Philadelphia. When has a Philadelphia sports fan never not been an embarrassment? So Kevin Hart gets a gimme on that one. He doesn't suck as far as being a rowdy, out of control, drunk Philadelphia sports fan. So with all this sucking going on at Super Bowl 52, all we needed to do was throw Stormy Daniels into the mix, because everybody knows that she sucks and she likes to suck. Just ask Donald Trump. Now, you might be asking yourself by now, well, if KTM, if you didn't watch the Super Bowl, how can you possibly have anything to say about it? And it is not the Super Bowl per se that I am commenting on. As I was going through the various little pieces of drama that was going on at the Super Bowl, I came across this. No players kneel during the national anthem at the Super Bowl. And as you can see from that little picture right there, if you can make it out, you got the players standing there with their hands over their hearts, and everybody's standing and being great Americans and respecting the flag, and nobody's kneeling and nobody's fist pumping in the air. Nobody's doing any of the power to the people politics that we've come to know and love over the past 3 years. This is where the word conviction comes into play. You've been taking knees and putting your hands up, don't shoot, and all the other protests. You've been protesting the national anthem. You go to somebody else's country, you go all the way to London, England, and you stand up for their national anthem, but you don't stand up for yours. You go to Mexico and you stand up for the Mexican national anthem, but you do not stand up for your national anthem. You come back here and you continue with all the kneeling and all of the fist pumping and all of the putting your hands up and all of the stuff that you've been doing for the past 3 years to disrupt the NFL, to make the game a living hell for NFL fans, to make the game as such that fans in droves turned their backs on the NFL, burned NFL merchandise, and like myself, simply swore off the NFL for good. But it shouldn't matter what I think. Should matter what I do, just like it shouldn't matter what the droves of NFL fans or ex-NFL fans thought or did regarding your protesting. Your conviction is supposed to be of such that the issues of police brutality, the issue of cops killing little black kids, all of the things that Colin Kaepernick brought to life during the football season, and you guys jumped on and continued that Colin Kaepernick bandwagon of the cops are pigs, the cops are racist, the cops are evil. Even the NFL owner that referred to players as his property, thanks to Colin Kaepernick, who got bounced and blackballed from the NFL because, I forgot to mention that too, you're going to stand up for him because what the NFL did, what the owners did, they colluded to keep Colin Kaepernick out of the NFL. So we're going to stand up for that. We're also going to stand up if the NFL doesn't take some of its NFL money and take it and put it back into those black neighborhoods that those white cops go to and shoot up a bunch of black kids and just raise all kind of hell in the neighborhoods. We are going to kneel, and we are not going to stand up for that anthem. We are going to protest because our conviction is of such that we are going to go down doing what's right. And just like I told you what was going to happen, these Negroes folded like a house of cards. For all of you out there that accuse me of being a sellout and a coon, who are the real coons and the real sellouts in the black community? They did exactly what I told you they were going to do. Let me ask you something. Did police brutality stop all of a sudden? Did blacks being brutalized and mistreated by the cops, did that stop all of a sudden? No, it didn't. You do all that protesting for the last 3 years. You disrupt the game of football for the last 3 years. And now that you stand on the largest stage in the NFL and you get a chance to make a statement to the world, you are standing there like a bunch of good little boys are supposed to do, because your white masters have had enough of you acting like a bunch of clowns, and they laid the law down to you Negroes. If you don't shape up, we will ship you out, because there ain't nowhere else an uneducated, moronic athlete can make the kind of money that you make. And you're going to bite the hand that is feeding you? I don't think so. Now, one of the things I was curious about was exactly how many people watched this year's Super Bowl, because as we all know that the ratings for the NFL are on the decline. Fan attendance is on the decline. A lot of this has to do with all that protesting and all that nonsense that was going on. But it was interesting to me, at least, to see how many people were actually watching the Super Bowl. And to my surprise, I couldn't find those numbers. In today's media, where things are viral, things happen a split second. When the news hits the wire, let's say it hits the wire at 12 o'clock, 12:01, it's all over the place. So for me not to be able to find how many people actually attended or watched the Super Bowl, we know who attended, about 67,000 people attended, but I even went to the Nielsen ratings, who tracks the numbers for everybody. They didn't have the numbers. Everybody talked around the numbers, but they didn't give the actual number. The closest that I found was an article that alluded that maybe somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 million people watched Super Bowl 52. But, if you're telling me somewhere in the area, then that means you didn't hit that 100 million. So what that means is the numbers have been steadily declining. And these idiots, because a lot of them didn't go to school, so they don't know a lick of math, didn't understand the connection between what they were doing and the effect it was having on the money that the NFL generates. That money is starting to go down. And if that money goes down, you can't be paid all of the money that you're being paid. That money is connected to people's jobs. That money is connected to television. That money is connected to the stadiums. That money is connected. It is seeped out and filtered into everything. So if the NFL dies because it can't sustain itself, everything connected to the NFL dies. But who cares about all of that, right? You care about police brutality. You care about racism. You care about NFL owners that refer to their players as property. All of that. You care about Colin Kaepernick being blackballed out of the NFL. And you care so much that you don't care if the NFL goes down. You don't care if the NFL is destroyed, because your conviction is supposed to be of such that you are willing to tank the very thing that is keeping you alive in the name of what's right, in the name of what's decent, in the name of what's fair. Who are we kidding when we're talking about these moronic athletes? This is why I have no respect, zero respect for the average black male athlete. If we lose these jobs, we lose all of that money, we lose all of the white women that come with it, and we will be thrown right back into the ghettos that this industry has pulled us out of and given us the chance to not live around the very people that we are taking knees and pumping our fists in the air for. So you see, I cannot look at these players the same way ever again. These players who supposedly were supposed to stand up in the name of racism and the name of doing what's right, they folded. They no longer care about a movement that they totally disrupted the league for the last 3 years, and then all of a sudden they toss it aside like a kid tosses aside a toy when they're done playing with it and they're not interested in it anymore. This person had conviction. This person had conviction. This person had conviction, and they were willing to die and pay the price for what they truly believed in. There are some great, upstanding black men in the NFL, and I know that, but the vast majority of you are a bunch of weak hypocrites. If you wanted to address social, political issues, social justice, I don't have a problem with that. You should have did it on your off time. You should have did it in your communities. You should have went back to your communities and invested in your own communities, invested in your own people by standing up for that national anthem with your hands over your hearts and standing there like a bunch of good little boys. You sold out Colin Kaepernick. You sold yourselves out because you've let all of us know that you did not mean any of what you've been doing over the past 3 years. Puffy, you can keep those strong black heroes. They mean nothing to me. This is KTM and the Wake Up Report saying think a little bit. It will do wonders for you.